Computer or smartphone? Okay, it's quite a bit of you. Well, I'm sure you guys have heard of some of those new gadgets that are out there now. The new iPhone came out a couple months ago. Google just announced their new Nexus phones and tablets. Pretty cool devices, and we all love technology. Well, although these latest gadgets that most of us Americans quickly spend money on initially seem like a must-have device, honestly, the initial differences are quite minimal, and you can actually find yourself benefiting more from simply not upgrading your device at all. Now, statistically, most of us have a smartphone in our pockets right now. As students, technology is definitely very prevalent in our lives today. I know you all had to at least use a computer to create a PowerPoint presentation, but definitely as students, very prevalent in our lives today. So, today I'll share with you the epidemic of the must-have gadget in America, show you the truth behind these devices and what the differences really are, and share with you how not upgrading your device can actually be quite beneficial. So this is quite an epidemic in America. Technology, we're bombarded by advertisements telling us how we need to have that latest new fancy gadget. It's quite an obsession in America. Going over some statistics, a study done by the government found that the average American spends $48 a month on electronics. Another statistic done by a phone recycling company found that the average American replaces their phone every 16 months. Now, if you're not really buying into this whole idea that this is an epidemic in America, I want you all to think of those people who waited hours in line for the new iPhone. They waited hours in line for a phone they've never even held, they've never used. How do they know they're even going to like it? But they wait hours in line and spend big bucks just so they can have that latest gadget. Another problem with this in America is the fact that we are buying gadgets with features that we don't even use. And this is also true in the case of, software developers sometimes don't even use these features until well into the life of an actual device. So, if there's this big push in America about how you need to have that latest gadget, well, how are we supposed to keep up with that? Well, this is the part of my speech where I actually tell you that you don't even have to worry about upgrading at all. That upgrading is not important. And you may think that's a little weird for me to say, but let's just think about it for a second. Let's go over some of the real differences in our devices. So maybe this new one has a higher resolution camera. Everything has a camera on it nowadays. Maybe they boosted up the memory. Maybe this one has a better screen. And in general, they have a higher processor clock rate. For those of you who are unaware, the processor is essentially the brain of the computer. It's what does all the thinking. Now this actually comes from my textbook in a class that I'm taking now. And I want you all to think of processors as essentially clocks right now. So when you see the term clock rate, that is literally how fast that these processors are ticking through computation, like a clock would. So here I have two clocks. You can see one clock is ticking faster than the other. Just like processors, you could say that one has a faster clock rate than the other clock. But one thing I want you guys to notice is that these clocks are not the same. They're different. One clock has to tick 60 times in a day to complete that day, and the other clock only has to tick 12 times. This is true with processors as well. Not all processors are the same, and what may take one processor a few clock cycles to compute may take another processor fewer cycles. So how do you really tell the difference in speed then? Well, you really can't tell the difference until you start comparing devices side by side. And when you start comparing these devices side by side across all their features, you start to realize that there really isn't much difference at all. For example, a New York Times article quotes the founder of an Apple rumor site, and he says how the iPad hasn't changed much over the years, and the first iPad is still a really good device. So if I'm telling you that to keep up with technology, you don't even have to worry about upgrading your device, you may be thinking, what the heck, how is this even beneficial at all for me then? Well, let's go over some of those benefits. First of all, you save money. Money stays in your pocket. Everyone likes to have money in their pockets. Another thing is there's no new learning curve. You keep your old device, it's the device you know and love. You know how to quickly unlock your phone, make a quick text, or hide it from the professor maybe sometimes. It's your old device that you know and love. Another big benefit is the fact that you can still stay up to date in software. This is probably the biggest benefit. A study done by Skype found that 40% of people actually do not upgrade their computer software, which is kind of a tragedy almost, because just from upgrading the software alone, which is usually free, you can see speed and performance increases, as well as getting a lot of the features that you see in all these up-to-date devices. So, for example, a top news editor even said in relation to the new iPhone that Apple's newest phone doesn't offer anything groundbreaking. It's a wise choice to step back and look at the little ways to make your phone a little more functional. So now I would like you all to either take out your smartphone if you have one, or just take out a piece of paper real quick for something I want you to jot down. But before I go into that, I want to summarize where I've been so far. So I told you about this obsession in America over how you need to have that new great device. Well, you guys no longer have to fall for this. You should realize how minimal these differences in your devices really are, and how you can benefit more by maybe just simply updating your software instead of buying this brand new device. So this is a list of technology review sites, and the next time you feel like you just have to have that new fancy gadget, I want you to visit these sites. Go ahead and bookmark some of them in your website on your smartphone, or take a picture maybe with your phone, or just jot a few of them down. And the next time you feel like you have to have that new great gadget, I want you to go to these sites, compare the differences, see just how small the differences really are. Maybe it's just a simple upgrade, and I guarantee you'll be convinced that you no longer need this great device, and that you will hold on to your current device a little bit longer. Thank you.